Hello and welcome to this screencast on strength training. So if we go through the specification, what we're looking at is the different types of strength, the factors that affect strength, the methods that evaluate strength, training to develop strength, and then finally the physiological adaptations from strength training. Throughout this whole process of looking at these, we'll be looking at activities and sports in which strength is a key fitness component. So we've done aerobic capacity. Now we're going to look at strength, and then we have flexibility to look at. So this screencast is going to be around this red box here. So we're going to look at the types of strength that we have, the factors that affect strength, and then finally the methods of evaluating each type of strength. First of all, here is an exam question that you might kind of be asked within your A-level exam. Describe using a practical example for each of the following types of strength: static strength, dynamic strength, maximum strength. So describing, being able to define which each type of strength is whilst using a practical example for each, which you're going to be given in this screencast. Also down here, compare explosive strength and strength endurance. So again, you're going to have to be able to compare the difference between, or the similarities of, explosive strength and strength endurance and the other types of strength that we have. So first of all, types of strength. We have maximum strength, explosive strength, also known as elastic strength, but we're going to stick to its explosive strength, dynamic strength, static strength, and then finally strength endurance. So these are different types of strength that we have to be aware of. We have to know how to improve them as well. We have to be able to evaluate methods of improving them as well as testing them. So first of all, maximum strength. Maximum strength is the maximum force applied in a single contraction, e.g. a shot put. Okay, so maximum force applied in a single contraction is maximum strength. Your example there would be shot put. Explosive strength is the maximal force exerted with high speed of contraction in one or a series of movements, e.g. high jump or a block in basketball. Dynamic strength is the force applied with movement, change in muscle length. So triple jump, for example. So force applied with movement. Therefore, static strength is going to be force applied with no movement, e.g. gymnast holding a handstand in position. Also the crucifix in gymnastics as well. That's a very good example. Those two are both good examples of static strength. And then finally, strength endurance is the ability to sustain and withstand repeated muscular contractions or muscle contractions. So the ability to sustain and withstand repeated being key, muscle contractions, e.g. swimming. So they are your types of strength that we have available. Okay, now we need to know methods of evaluating the strength. So how do we evaluate someone's strength? First of all, how do we evaluate maximum strength? How do we evaluate explosive strength? And how do we evaluate strength endurance? These are the only three types of strength we need to be able to evaluate. If we're looking at maximum strength, there are two methods used of evaluating it. Okay, so the first one is one repetition maximum test. So that's the name of the test. That's what we need to know it as, the one repetition maximum test. So how this works is a subject picks an exercise, for example, a bench press. So you're isolating a muscle group, i.e. pectoralis major, and what we have to do is you increase weight until only one repetition can be lifted. So what you tend to do is you'll know there or thereabouts what your 1 rep max is. You won't go to your absolute maximum straight away because it might be dangerous, so you might go just before it, and then you'll try and lift just 1 repetition at that weight. If you just about are able to complete it, that's probably your 1 rep max. You can give yourself plenty of rest, put a few more weights on and do it again. It is not increasing weight constantly over time, it is purely testing for the 1 rep max. This is really good because it's a direct measure of strength, as well as it's easy, okay, to produce with regards to accessible equipment in a gym. Most muscle groups can be tested as well. However, the disadvantages are it can lead to injury. Trial and error may induce early fatigue. So when I spoke about increased weight until only 1 repetition can be lifted, if you do that too many times, that can lead to fatigue and potentially not give an actual true representation of your 1 repetition max. So it can lead to injury is one of them. Trial and error may include early fatigue. and good technique is essential. That's a disadvantage as well. So that's our maximum strength, one of the ways we test maximum strength. The second way we do it is the grip strength dynamometer. Okay, so a dynamometer held above head with a straight arm. Arm is brought down whilst squeezing this grip maxillary of the dynamometer, and you do it 3 times on each arm. I will show you one of these in lesson, what it looks like so you can understand. This is an advantage of this again is that it's simple to use. It's an objective measure of strength, it's inexpensive equipment, and it's highly reliable. Disadvantages is it only measures forearm strength, so it would not be specific for someone wanting to test their maximum strength of their rectus femoris in their legs. It's also not sport specific. There are no real sports out there where you are testing, you're just gripping something and squeezing it really hard. Okay, so it's not sport specific either. Explosive strength. So we can test explosive strength using the vertical jump test. So I'll show you a video of this in a lesson as well. You may have done this in school. So subject jumps and reaches with one arm against a wall mounted jump board, and you've got to see how far or how high you can jump. The more height you get, the more explosive strength that you have. So again, this is simple, it's easy to use, it's minimal equipment needed. Tests could be administered by the participant themselves. So again, it's a good test to use. Disadvantages are only measures leg strength. So again, with this one, you're not measuring upper body strength. Then finally, strength endurance is measured using a sit-up test, and this is just a continuous sit-ups at progressive intensities until exhaustion. It's a very similar setup to the bleep test or the multi-stage fitness test. Sit-up test, continuous sit-ups at progressive intensities until exhaustion. Again, this is simple to use, simple to administer, simple to actually complete. However, a negative of it or disadvantage, you can get a strain on the lower back from using this. Also, again, tests may not be sport specific, e.g. a swimmer or cyclist may be at a disadvantage using this test. So they are the different methods that we use for evaluating different types of strength. We've got 2 for maximum strength, 1 for explosive, and 1 for strength endurance. Finally, we need to talk about the factors affecting strength. We looked at the factors that affect aerobic capacity, and we did that through using the memory method TAG. This is very similar, it's TAG C. So we've got training specificity, age, genetics, gender, and then cross-sectional area of a muscle. So all of these here will affect our strength or participant strength. So first of all, training specificity has to align with the correct training to increase our strength, i.e. if you want to increase strength and you're not doing the correct training, i.e. you're doing a high intensity interval training session or you're doing continuous training session, this is not going to improve our strength. We have to do, for example, weight training. So that is a factor that affects strength. Our age is a factor that affects strength. So we are at our optimal strength development between 20 and 30 years of age. There will be a decrease in strength after that age. So from 20 to 30 plus, there will be a decrease in strength. If we're looking at the genetic makeup, the higher the percentage of fast twitch, so type 2A or type 2B, fast oxidative glycolytic and fast glycolytic muscle fibers, the greater the strength of contraction. If you remember back to aerobic capacity, factors that affected our aerobic capacity in terms of genetics would be slow oxidative muscle fiber types. The more slow oxidative muscle fiber types you have, the better aerobic capacity you're going to have. It's flip reverse for strength. So the higher percentage of fast oxidative glycolytic and fast glycolytic muscle fibers that we have, the greater the strength of contraction is going to be. Gender. So males have higher amounts of testosterone, therefore higher strength. Usually, okay, and then therefore females have lower amounts of testosterone, therefore lower strength. And then finally, cross-sectional area of the muscle. The larger the cross-sectional area of the muscle, the bigger the motor neuron, the more forceful the contraction is going to be. Hence why usually people that train, people that develop hypertrophy of their muscles tend to be able to lift more, because they've got a larger cross-sectional area of the muscle, they've got larger motor neuron, therefore their contractions are more forceful. So they are the factors that affect strength. So if you can get good corner notes down for each one of those, you're writing down the information, you're asking yourself questions for each one, and that'd be great. Thank you.